All right, so we have a Whirlpool side by side. Now, what you're going to see shortly is something that Whirlpool has been pretty much going through with their refrigerators on the side by side models. Now, the complaint on this was not making ice. And whenever you first notice that your fridge is not making ice, don't always assume that the ice maker is bad, especially on this model. So if you have a side by side, you have the wires down at the bottom. You want to basically take the cover off and take a look. As you can see, we're going to get closer shortly. See that? Totally cut. So if you're not careful, you would be replacing the ice maker or other parts and hoping that you would get the ice maker fixed. But you have to get to the bottom of it and get to the source. All right, so now you know what the problem is. How do you fix it? So the actual perfect fix would be to replace the door with the same defective or bad design part for it to happen again. Way too much, cost too much. All right, so what we're going to do, we are going to basically, well, I actually have another video in which we solder the connections. They were 4 or 5 different connections. So all the wires were cut. If it was super bad, meaning more than one wires, I would have sorted it. So what you want to do in this case, you want to extend the wire. That's number one. And we are going to just use wire nuts. Sometimes I make special videos so you know you can still get your fridge up and running. You don't have a soldering tool, you don't have solder. How are you going to get it fixed? So make it simple. It is totally safe. Just make sure that you extend the wires. And once you do, you have to secure the wires in place. And you'll see shortly, we're going to extend the cord restraint. So on the body, right, as we're looking, all of those connections are way too tight. So what you need to do, as I'm doing, loosening the screws, removing the screws, and we're going to have them more relaxed. So you will see shortly how I use a zip tie and wrap them, but still keep them contained where they're not that restricted, which is the idea. The reason of the failure, the restriction that Whirlpool uses, it does not allow movement. And that happens, then the wires just bind and they snap. So we're removing the ice maker cover. Disconnect your wire. And take a look at this. See that yellow? Goes all the way around. And there he is. So we're going to be extending the wire, and we're using wire nuts. use the smallest. I think they're blue. I don't think there's a smaller than blue. I think maybe gray. I think gray is smaller than blue. So smallest, that's all you need. And you twist the wires together and tighten the wire nuts up. And that's it. And you'll see I will also use a zip tie to keep my new connection tightly to the rest of the harness so it does not move independently, it stays together. And then we wrap everybody in electrical tape and call it a day. Make sure once you have installed the wire nuts, make sure you tug, not hard, just gently on each of the wires. Make sure that they are fully, I guess, you know, held in place. Otherwise, you may get a false connection. This is where the zip tie comes in. And that keeps your wire extension firmly in place. Cut off the excess. And now we're going to wrap it with good electrical tape. Scott 35. Scotch 35. Just take your time as you wrap. It is best to cut pieces instead of trying to use the entire roll to wrap because you just don't have the room. So you cut small pieces, just stretch the tape, get it over all your connections, make sure everything's nice and tight. And then we're going to use another zip tie to secure the entire harness and basically keep it off the ground, and then pretty much done. So enjoy the rest of the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Also, guys, make sure you don't put back the old cord restraint. Everything that came off, you need to leave it off. Yep, don't put that back. So put everything up, but don't put it back on the unit. All it's going to do is restrict. So leave it off. All right, so we're pretty much wrapping up here. We're going to be putting back the cover, the front piece, and we're pretty much done. So, all right, enjoy the rest of the video. 12 and episode was so good. But on YouTube, they're basically. Uh-huh. Nice. Nice. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, really? I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I'll make sure I get those tapes from now on. Better quality. I was telling your wife, you guys probably know the better, it's what you do, you know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want you to step on it. You know what'll happen? Double will happen. It has to be cold enough. They do their own thing. So keep an eye on it. Give it, I always say, 8 to 10 hours. Fridge has to be cold enough for this to do anything. So.
Yeah, well, we actually had the refrigerator a little bit too